Our top story this morning, Israel continues its attack on Iran overnight, this time targeting government infrastructures.
Yeah, this comes as U.S. Central Command says more than 50,000 U.S. troops are now in the region. That's a jump from 35,000 previously reported. Iran continues to attack American interests across the region. Just recently, an Iranian drone hit the U.S. consulate in Dubai, and the embassy in Jordan was also targeted. Iran was also able to land a missile on the largest U.S. base in the Middle East. There were no reports of injuries, and now the U.S. is showing the capabilities the Army has in its operation in the region.
Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale. We've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions.
Multiple reports, including from the Wall Street Journal, say the Trump administration is considering whether to support groups inside Iran who are willing to fight back and topple the regime.
This morning, we now know the names of 4 of the 6 U.S. service members who were killed in the Iran conflict. Those 6 were killed in the very first day of fighting after Iran launched a retaliatory attack on the control and command center in Kuwait just hours after those first strikes were fired. Behind me is pictures of a before and after of that center. You can see the ground is charred, several in the building there severely damaged due to that strike. Now we'll show you the 4 service members who have been identified so far. From left to right on your screen, we have Sergeant Declan Cody of Iowa, Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins of Nebraska, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore of Minnesota, and Captain Cody Cork of Winter Haven, Florida. Now, all 6 of those soldiers who died do have ties to Kentucky through Fort Knox. The mayor of Radcliffe, J.J. Duvall, says that they all went through Fort Knox for the 1st Theater Sustainment Command at the Army post there. Now, the city is opening its arms to the community who's going through that loss.
We just want to make sure that the community is supporting the installation and understanding this is a time that the installation at Fort Knox and the families there are understandably grieving. So we just want to make sure that we are monitoring that and supporting them in any way.
Retired Brigadier General Rob Givens of Louisville spoke with us about his experience. The retired Air Force fighter pilot was one of the first to fly over Iraq during Operation Desert Storm. He told us about how operations like this and what the U.S. are doing in Iran right now don't only impact the front lines troops, it also impacts the communities that are supporting them back at home.
All that has a human cost to it. It has a human cost to the adversary, but it has a human cost to us. Not just the soldiers that lose their lives, obviously, but those that experience it. You cannot go to war and come home the same way you went.
Fort Knox, Radcliffe, and the surrounding areas all have resources for military members and their families available. Those include the local VFW, Fort Knox Spouses and Community Club, and the American Legion Post.
On Tuesday, AAA said the average price of a gallon of gas in Kentucky is $2.72, which is 9 cents up from Monday's average. That means people who drive for a living are going to see a bigger dent in their wallet. Look at this graph. It has prices from last year to a month ago to just yesterday. We know Kentucky's price, but look at Indiana right now. You are paying an average of $2.99. At Muhammad Ali International Airport, WHAS talked to people fresh off of flights looking for a ride. One traveler says her Lyft fares to her Florida airport and the one she took to get home both shot up. For Z-Trip taxi drivers, it's a difficult strain they have to take into account because they have to pay for their gas and a license. With rising costs, it's becoming harder for drivers to turn a profit.
But that's not happening quick. That can be whole day from 9 to until at least 9, 12 hours, sometimes more than that. Some drivers I know, they're not taking day off. They're working every day to make profit.
One driver told us if the gas prices remain high, he might have to look for another job. According to AAA, the average gas price here in Louisville is just over $2.88. That's 15 cents higher than the rest of the state. And across the state, gas is 16 cents higher per gallon than this time last month.
The U.S. stock market also feeling the impacts of the conflict in the Middle East. Yesterday morning, we saw the Dow Jones go on a real roller coaster, stumbling 1,200 points early in trading before it bounced back to close the day, down only 400 points. WHS 11 spoke to a local financial advisor about if we should be worried about our money at this point. Mark Lampkin, the CEO of Lampkin Wealth Management, told us that now is not the time to overreact and not the time to panic. He says that a 1,200-point drop does sound scary, but it just needs some perspective here. The index is growing constantly in value, and points become a little bit of a smaller percentage of that. A much larger decline of about 1,200 points represents less than a 2.5% decline because the Dow right now sits at over 50,000 points. Lampkin says that now is not the time to panic, and it's certainly not the time to sell off your stocks.
Because if you look at it, the biggest mistakes you've made with emotion. Take emotion out of it, put facts in it. We've been here before. The markets are survived. We're going to be fine over time.
The Dow started to recover throughout yesterday, and it finished down 403 points. That's where it will open up this morning. The S&P 500 begins today down 65 points, and the NASDAQ starts down 232 points. Lampkin also advised that if the stock market were to drop by a substantially larger percentage, then there are protections that would kick in to try to kick that market back into place. It means that trading would essentially shut down for certain periods of time to let things cool down and recover. The best way to stay connected with all of our continuing coverage on the conflict with Iran is to download the WHS 11 app. Go to WHS11.com. You can also download our streaming channel on your TV where you can watch all of our coverage as we continue to get updates throughout the day.